Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Jen.
And we're Dave and Jen Ignite. We're here to talk to you today about, what are you doing, Jen?
I'm eating a wonderful, delicious pumpkin spice pie blizzard from Dairy Queen. One bite.
Yeah.
I know, yummy.
I think it's good. Pumpkin spice is quite the rage right now. And so we thought we'd just talk about spices in the Bible. Who knew? Yeah. Have you thought about that before? Well, here we go. What are you laughing about?
I'm sure do you sit up at night wondering about spices in the Bible? I'm sorry. Okay, go on, honey.
There are spices in the Bible.
There are.
They are referred to there. And in particular, let's talk about a few places where that happens. Genesis 37, Joseph has been sold into slavery by his brothers. Great story. Not very pleasant, but a great story. And he's sold to the Ishmaelites. And the Ishmaelites are carrying on their camels various treasures, various goods they're going to be trading. And spices are listed as one of the things that they trade. So there you go. There's where it starts.
And further on down in the book of Genesis, when Joseph has become, through God's design, one of the leaders of Egypt, and the brothers don't know it, of course. So they've come back to their father Jacob, who was tremendously missing Joseph and thought that he had died, and said, "Oh, the leader of Egypt has asked us to come back with news of the family and many other things." So Jacob said, "Make sure that you take some of our best gifts, include some of our most fragrant and best spices." Another beautiful story of trying to give your best.
And then in the Song of Songs, sometimes called the Song of Solomon, the lover is described as being very fragrant, and she has her spices with her. And clearly this is to depict something that's very pleasing in aroma, perhaps an aphrodisiac. Hey.
Don't go there.
Forget that part. Just keep going. Perhaps whatever, but it's just spoken to in a very romantic way, as the spices are attractive to her beloved.
Absolutely.
So after that, we have Isaiah referring to King Hezekiah, and he is keeping spices stored in his treasure house. And so clearly, as you see in both Joseph and Jacob, and here with Hezekiah, King Hezekiah, it is a bartering system and a part of the currency of the bartering system. Spices are used to trade back and forth. You probably heard that in history class if you're old enough to have gone through that, and where they used salt at certain times in history,
right.
as part of the currency for bartering back and forth. So King Hezekiah.
King Hezekiah. And then moving on into the New Testament, actually, Jesus talked about spices when he was talking to the Pharisees in the book of Matthew about tithing and really what they considered to be important, because you may or may not know that the Pharisees really prided themselves in going through all of the motions and following all of the legalities and all of the rules. And Jesus called them out on it. He said, you tithe 10% of your spices, of your mint and your cumin and all of those wonderful precious things. And yes, that's great. But also don't forget the more important parts of showing mercy and being righteous. And so Jesus recognized that tithing, even of these precious spices, was something that was a good thing.
Well, after that, in John chapter 19, we find that that's where Joseph and Nicodemus, this is at the crucifixion of Jesus. And after his crucifixion, they take Jesus' body and prepare it with spices and wrap it in linen cloth. So spices are used here as a part of the preservation of the body. Just as it's prepared for burial, it's used to keep the body. Perhaps it's some sort of preservative. Perhaps it's simply something to keep the fragrance more pleasant. But they used spices to wrap inside the linen for burying Jesus' body.
And then after the Sabbath, Jesus' friends, the women particularly, who loved and followed Jesus, they also had previously, before the Sabbath, purchased spices to do the same thing, to do more, anointing Jesus' body. And they were on their way to the tomb with these beautiful spices. And I don't know, it doesn't say this in the Bible, but I would think it was also a sign of of honor and of care for someone who is very, very dear to them, and to show that honor and care by anointing his body with these spices as well. And that was found in several of the Gospels. Mary, the mother of James, and Salome, and Mary Magdalene. And boy, they found something different when they got there. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, there you go. There are some spices in the Bible. And I'm going to help her finish this if she hasn't finished it by the time we get done with our video.
Oh, go ahead.
So let's have a couple of questions for the day. A couple of simple ones today. And I'll let Jen start since she just put some of that in her mouth.
Yes, I will try not to talk with food in my mouth. First of all, just a fun question. What is your favorite spice of this season? I know it's pumpkin spices everywhere. Maybe we have a favorite local coffee shop, and they have pumpkin spice latte. They have pumpkin chai. They pretty much have pumpkin everything. But what do you enjoy about this season? What do you enjoy eating? Or what do you enjoy cooking with? Or just the fragrance of the sweet spices this time of year?
Yeah. And we joked at the beginning, have you really thought about spices in the Bible before? But, have you noticed that before? If you would, just put a comment down below about having noticed those spices being listed there. Perhaps you remembered the passage from Jesus' body being wrapped, or the one about tithing, or maybe something from the Old Testament. Just put a comment down below. And likewise, when you comment, if you would, just let us know what you'd like to hear about. Pumpkin spices in this fall, it's fall season right now, or something else. Just send us a little note through the comment section, and we will make sure and do our best to answer those questions, or at least, give you our best shot. Well, we hope that you found some value in this video, so click like, subscribe, and then you can even click that bell for the notifications whenever we post a new video, which is usually about once a week. So, until we meet again, and it's great to have you, of course, I'm Dave.
And I'm Jen, and Lord bless you. Thanks for joining us.
May it be so.